Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. Today, we are going to be talking about holiday shopping on a budget. Oh, you know what? Stop. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Kim. I am a financial wellness coach here at the Centers for Finance and Education at New Hampshire Federal Credit Union. Today, we bring you holiday shopping on a budget. And I'm sure that doesn't sound fun to a lot of you, but this presentation is going to be kind of giving you outside of the box um, Christmas ideas, holiday ideas as far as shopping goes. And that's what it's meant for. Because when we grow up, and we're going to talk about this a little bit more, we have our family traditions and we tend to stick with those. And sometimes those can be costly. So we're going to talk about different traditions that you could start with your family and uh, how to look at certain things at a different angle and hopefully get your budget back on track. Okay? So without any further ado, we are going to go ahead and jump in. Now, if you have any questions during this presentation, please, 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 please ask away. Okay? The questions are not going to come to us during the presentation that like they used to. We're actually going to get an email after the presentation is done with all the questions. And so what we will do when we get those questions is we'll compile another email with the questions with the answers. Okay? So you don't have to worry about interrupting us or anything like that. So if you have questions, please type them in. They'll come to us directly, so you don't have to worry about, there will be no names popping up on the screens or anything like that. So you don't have to worry about that. Okay? All right, so let's jump on in. Okay, so topics that we are going to cover. Values and objectives. This is actually a big one, okay? Because a lot of our spending at Christmas time actually comes down to kind of our values or how we grew up and things like that. So we're actually going to be talking quite a bit about that type of stuff. We're going to set a holiday budget. Make a list and check it twice. We're going to discuss how you plan on paying for Christmas. That's a big one. And tips and tricks to keep costs down. I'm sure that's why most of you are here. So before we end up talking about budgeting and spending this, spending that, what we want to talk about is, have you ever wondered why you do the things that you do, especially around the holiday season? Why you might buy a certain number of gifts, why you might go crazy decorating, why do you spend what you do, and is this done on credit cards? What does giving actually mean to you? Me, it's not about the price, it's not about the hunt. I love the look on people's faces, and I love to try and find the perfect present. And because it gives me this sense that, I gave them something that they might not have known that they wanted, or they're just really excited. And I love giving for other people. If you've been a part of our other webinars, you know that I'm not a big shopper for myself. But when it comes for other people, I love shopping for other people, which can be bad because there's a lot more other people than there is just me. So if I just shop for myself, it'd probably be better. Okay, so these are the things that I want you to think about when we're talking about certain spending and why we do the things we do. Because a lot of it usually comes from your traditions. And what I want you to think is like, do I even like my traditions? Is it just something that I'm absent-mindedly doing? Like, yes, I know I spend this amount of money, but did I realize it's because of this? And this is why I'm spending the money? So that's something that we want to look at. Okay. So, okay. So, the first stage of planning is to make it your holiday and watch your finances. Now, what I mean by that is we're not going to throw traditions out the window totally. But what I want you to do is I want you to take a step back and say, what do I want the holidays to mean to me? Okay. Because what I don't want it to be is I don't want you to be stressed out of your gourd, going crazy, trying to get all these gifts, putting this all on credit cards, and then having depression for the entire year while you try and pay off these cards just to do it all over again. That's what I don't want to see. Okay. And if that is how your holiday shopping has gone previously, I'm sure you don't want that feeling again either. Okay? So, why do we recommend setting up a budget for shopping season? The reason why we do this is because you can get super carried away if you don't have a plan. Okay? It's almost like if you go on vacation and you take a credit card and you haven't planned a budget, and it might be really, really easy to start spending a ton of money on excursions because, heck, we didn't plan for it, right? We're just like, oh, this looks good. Let's try this. Um, so making a budget is something that, and I know some of you may think it's restrictive, but if you've been to my classes before, you know what I'm going to say. It's not constrictive at all. It's freeing, right? You are starting to understand your finances. You are getting to a point where you're being financially responsible, where you're saying, okay, I have this much to spend. I'm not going to go over it because I don't want to deal with the consequences, right? I know what the consequences are. I've dealt with them in the past. We're done doing that to myself. Okay. So the budget will let you know what you have available to spend on decorations, gifts, food, and drinks. Okay. And this is what some people forget too, is when you're planning for the holiday season, like you need to plan for everything. You need to plan for decorations, you need to plan for gifts, you need to plan for food, because if you're having a big get together, that's not something that a lot of people think of. And they're like, well, I do my regular grocery shopping. True. Um, but typically, with this type of food, it's usually a little bit more in depth, right? You're usually spending a little bit more. So you need to plan for that. You need to have a plan for what's going to happen. Okay. And the last thing is, I don't want you to rely on credit cards. The high interest is just, it kills a lot of people. And I don't want to see you get into that situation. Okay, I want us to plan. Now, if this season, because it's already November, so if this season it's kind of too short of a time frame to do some of this stuff, the reason why we wanted to put it out there is that's fine. If you have to do some of this stuff this year, um, it is what it is, right? Because it's the holiday season. If you're close to the holiday season, this is, when it's already tight. But what I want you to do, if it is close to the holiday season, just make sure to start implementing what you can, and then start planning for next year. Okay. So it's okay if you're like, oh, ugh, I don't know if I can do that this year. That's fine. You do what you can, right? Every little bit helps. Okay. So first we set the budget. And for most of you, you know that I love budgeting. Budgeting is where you understand where all your money is going. And the reason why we want you to do this, especially around the holiday season, is I want you to have an understanding where your money is going, but also to see how much money, especially if you haven't saved. Okay, this is the biggie. If you haven't saved any money for Christmas or the holidays, then we need to kind of figure out how much money do you do have to try and minimize if you're putting anything on a card. Okay? So that's going to be the budget. You write down all your expenses, you see where all your funds are going for, and then we see what we have available to use for Christmas. Okay? If you need help with that, we can definitely help. Okay? After you do that and you know how much that you have for the holiday season, then we can go out and plan, okay, this is how much I'm going to have. So let's break this up depending who I want to buy for. Okay? So for instance, here's an example of a holiday list. So we want to set a holiday list. Okay? So let's say we have $550 that we have for Christmas. Okay. And these are the people that I'm going to be purchasing for. So I have to break up the funds. So each child gets $100 to go toward their stuff. My spouse gets $200. Sister gets 50, and my mom gets 100. That's with the amount of money that I have available to me. That's how it's going to get separated. Okay? And then what I do is I have their little area right here that shows ideas and likes. Okay? Stuffies, definitely for depending on how young one is. Also, cars, arts and crafts, and for my spouse, gaming, sister, antiques, mom, scratch tickets, things like that. So it gives you kind of ideas. And the reason why you want to do that, the reason why you want to have ideas on the list, is that way when you go out, you can say what you purchased and you can say the final amount. Okay, but you want to stick to this because this is what you have in your budget. Okay? All right. Now, how will you pay for it? Now, you guys are going to like my next slide because it is a slide that is, once you start seeing everything together, it's kind of sad. But anyway, so what I want to do for this, how will you pay for it? And if the first thing that came to your head was credit cards, I have this little MIT study that I want to talk to you about. Okay. So, an MIT study showed that people who use plastic are willing to spend 100% more than people using cash. Okay? That's just the first sentence. Okay. That means if I had $100 in cash and someone had a credit card with the available balance of 200, and we saw these headphones, and let's say the headphones are going for $200. Someone with a credit card would say, "Oh, perfect! I had that available. Let me get them." Boom. The person with $100 is like, I'm gonna hold off. I'm gonna see if I can find any coupons or rebates, or if I can find them cheaper someplace else, and then pay the $100. Okay. That's what that means. So when you have a credit card or you're using a credit card for purchases, you are more apt, and this is psychology, to spend more. Now, you might say, I get rewards. Okay. Yes. But usually those reward cards have higher interest rates. Okay. So even though you have a card where you get, let's say, 5% back, the actual amount due on that card, or you get like 5% rewards back, the interest rate will be 28%, possibly. Whereas if you didn't have rewards on that card, then your interest rate would possibly be 18%. Do you see where that 5% rewards is really kind of off balance? Now, the reason that this is, and cards love to have rewards, is because the merchants have spent a lot of money. I'm talking hundreds of millions of dollars in research to know that you will spend more on a credit card. That's why they push them. They know that if you think you're getting money back, you're going to use it even more. Okay. Now, for all of those of you that say, I pay it off at the end of the month, great. They're not getting any interest. But the merchants, you still will be paying more for things or buying more things than you normally would, because in your head you're getting rewarded for it. Because this MIT study didn't show that people were paying interest. It just said people are willing to spend 100% more. Okay. So that's what we want. So for those people who use cards and don't pay them off even more, they're getting hit on both ends. So they're apt to pay more for stuff or buy more stuff, and then that is getting pushed over month to month, and they're having to pay interest on it. Okay. So that's that's why I really try and push cash as much as you can, cash. Okay. So now let's see, why do you tend to spend more when you have a credit card? So credit cards have different effects on consumers and often put the costs out of mind because it separates the purchase and it doesn't seem like we're spending money, regardless of the price. Okay? This study showed that credit cards sensitize our reward center of our brain in sense of enjoyment, which leads to more purchases. This study reinforces its previous research that people spend more when paying with a credit card. In this study, cash did not activate the reward networks in the brain, and cash didn't lead to more purchases. Okay, so that's big right there, because if you're using that for Christmas, so not only are you apt just to use the credit card for Christmas, but that's one of the biggest spending holidays that we have. So if that's what that does to you, and now you're in a holiday where you spend a lot, it can get out of control, which is typically what we see here as coaches and going through and helping people, especially around this time of year with that type of stuff. That's what we see. Okay. So that's why I really push having a budget, creating that budget, seeing how much cash you have available, right? And seeing if that's going to be something that's doable for you. And if it's not, if you're not going to have a lot of cash, we'll talk about different ways where we can have different types of items that may help. Okay. So things that I want you to kind of be a little sensitive to when you're shopping is marketing. Marketing is going to be the biggest thing that's going to hinder you going forward. Okay. Because they, like I said, they spend a ton on research to figure out what's going to make you spend more money. Okay. This is one of them. Marketing. Okay. How do they market to you to make you spend more money? Buy one, get ones. Okay. Now you might be saying, well, that's not going to make me spend more. Or is it? If you were going in for one soap, but you saw buy two, get one free, are you going to have the self control to say, oh, I just need one, so I'm just going to get one? Or you say, I'm going to get two, and so I get one free because I'm saving money. Now, what I want you to look at that is you're not saving money. You went in, let's say the soap is $5. You went in to buy one soap, which is $5. So you meant to spend $5. But what ended up happening is you ended up spending $10. I don't care about that free one. I'm just looking at what you're spending. You spent $10. Okay. So ultimately, what does that mean? You actually went in and spent twice as much money as you were planning on spending. Okay. That's how I want you to look at it. Not that free one that you're probably never going to use because by the time you get through the other two, you probably lost it. You know, those are good if you were planning on buying two. So if you were going to go in and you were going to buy two soaps for people, and then they had that buy one, get one, buy two, get one free. Now that's a deal because you were already planning on buying two. But if at any time you end up buying more just to get the free one, you're not saving any money. You're actually paying more than you would have if you just went in to get one soap. Okay? Sign up for store card. Woohoo! 20-30% off purchased. Or you'll get a gift card. These are all ones that you want to be. Use your store card to receive 10 to 15% off clearance. These are all marketing. You want to pay attention. Did you budget for this? If you budgeted for it and you have the amount to spend for it, awesome. Go crazy as long as you plan for it. If you did not plan for it, then don't go crazy. Okay? Oh, coupons for the future depending on how much you spent. It keeps you going back to the store. Okay? My husband and I, there's one store that is notorious for this that we do not shop at regularly. It's very once in a while. He recently went there, recently got one of these coupons, and he's like, all right, this coupon's going to end. Um, is um is there anything that do you want to go shopping so we can go look around? And I'm like, do we need anything? He's like, huh? I'm like, do we need anything? Were we planning on getting anything? Do we need something for the house? Is there a reason why we're going to the store? He's like, no, I just have this coupon. I'm like, if we don't need anything, then we don't need to go to the store. I'm like, just because you have the coupon doesn't mean we're going to go spend money. And he's like, oh, well, I just wasn't sure if you wanted anything. I'm like, oh, no, I don't need anything. So we'll just toss the coupon away. And that's the kind of mindset I want you guys to get into. These are all roping you in to come in, spend money on things that you don't need, right? Because there's you're not going there for something specific. You're going there because you have a coupon. Okay. In the infamous sale, especially around Christmas, sale. It's one of those where if you don't need it, it's not a sale. All right. And that's mostly My dad is notorious for this. Not like shopping as in like the clothes shopping. He is like this, and I'm sure some of you else are like this when it comes to meat. If he sees a steak on sale, he's all over it. Even if he already has 5 in the freezer. That's something that you want to be aware about too, is how are these things affecting you? Are you ever going to eat the steak? Probably not. You have so much steak in that freezer. So now you're just wasting money. You're just wasting it. Unless you're gonna cook it up and give it away to somebody, if you're not gonna use it, you're wasting money. Okay. And it's very easy to get into this mindset because, like I said, the companies know what they're doing. They're very good at what they do. Now, here is my little diagram about being careful using credit cards. Okay. So, the true cost of Christmas credit. I love this. They did a very good job with this. So, here is what will you really pay? And this is 19% interest. So, according to today's standards, that's extremely low. Usually my clients that I'm helping, usually their cards are 30, 31, 32%. So this 19%, really conservative, okay? So let's say we get a laptop. Yeah, I'll say it's a laptop. And it's $700. So it's going to take 125 months to pay. It's going to cost $756.85 to pay in interest. Okay. And the way that they break this down is they kind of add it all together. So you buy this $700, you buy the necklace $1,200, gaming system $69, you get tickets to something $400, you get an tablet $279, and you get a nice sweater for $27. So buying all these holiday gifts would cost you $2,674. Okay. Now, putting that on the credit card, if we were only to put down the minimum payment on that card, our balance would take 275 months to pay that off. Okay. And cost you over $4,000 in additional interest. So that's almost 23 years. Again, this is just paying the minimum payment. Okay. Or 156% more than the original purchase price. Okay. So this is what I like to tell people. Be very careful when you're using credit cards. That's why in the beginning I talked to you about using the cash. Going through your budget, seeing what cash you might have available. I want to make sure your bills and expenses are paid first before Christmas, right? But I'd much rather you use cash than your card. And a lot of you may say, well, I do make it a point to pay my card every month and make sure that it's completely paid off by Christmas time, which is great, but you're also still paying 19% in interest. So yeah, you might be, and then there's some of you that might be saying, well, I get like 5% cash back. Okay, but you're still paying 19% in interest. Instead of getting excited to receive 5% back, you should get excited to not pay 19%. See what I mean? Um, it's one of those where they are so good at marketing that you forget you're giving them almost 20% and you're getting a quarter of that. And you're excited about it. That's where it's like, oh my God, they do such a good job marketing that we don't even realize that we're getting excited for giving them so much money. Okay. So I love this little diagram. because it helps put in perspective of, and you know what's gross is this is only like 6 things. I know a lot of people that do more than 6 things a year for their Christmas, so it adds up. It adds up. And when you do it on a credit card, it adds up even worse. So be very careful. As I said, try and do your budget, see what you have for cash available for Christmas, and try and make a Christmas holiday list pertaining to that cash that you have available. Okay, let's see if this works. The ways to lower costs. This is something that we did expressly um, when we first started budgeting, and we had a very small Christmas budget the first year. We had like $200 for everybody. And so I said, guys, and I'm one of those people that I feel bad if someone spends money on me and I can't spend money on them because for some reason I feel like I'm gypping them, which isn't the case at all. Like my family spends money on me because they love getting me stuff and I appreciate it. But when I couldn't get them big gifts, or like bigger gifts than uh, handmade gifts, I actually told them, I'm like, guys, I am really short this year. I'm trying to get my finances back on track. So this year, it's going to be the first Christmas I was budgeting. It was all handmade gifts. I actually made snow globes. And I have to tell you, it was one of my best Christmases because it was something that I made. And it was super cool because I made things that people like really enjoyed doing. So I made one. Um, my brother-in-law's wife at the time loved doing her nails and loved. So what I did was I made a snow globe and I had nail polish in it. So it was like this little nail polish tower. And she's like, "Oh my God, this is amazing!" So it was something very unique I was able to give them, and it was really close to the heart because it's something that I made. I made it out of love, and it was doable in my budget, you know? So those are the things that, can be very helpful is doing your own stuff at home. Okay. And so I did snow globes with everybody because I was able to buy a big pack of mason jars. Um, so if you buy them in a pack, they're cheaper, right? And if you get all the glitter and the this and the that, everything comes in a big bulky size. So I did that for everyone, so I wouldn't waste the materials or only use a little bit of the materials. That way they would go around for everybody. And the only thing that were different was the little things I put in. But I kept that down. That was under $200. So I stuck to my budget and it was something and everyone loved it. Okay, so it was really exciting. So that's one way to lower costs is do handmade. And if you're not crafty, that's okay. You know, maybe you can have, if you have a family, maybe you can sit down and have like an arts and crafts time together, and then you can laugh about how bad you are. You know, you can really change it up, make it your own, but like doing those crafts sometimes, um, the experience is more than the actual gift itself. And I have Christmas concert on here because the Christmas is following once we got our finances good and we were kind of on track and paying off debt and being able to start saving because we started putting money away for Christmas so we were able to save. We started to do experiences with my family. So we would go, and I tell you, they absolutely love it. It's one of their favorite things. We'll go out for dinner and then we'll go see a show. And it's actually cheaper per person than, you would think, to do it that way. And we can go on to other places, like we go half off New Hampshire to see if they have any deals. Groupon, we go on if, we can see if they have any deals. Some of the local theaters will have deals around Christmas time. So just keep your eyes out. So that might be something. Um, Doing a Secret Santa, especially if you have a bigger family. We have to do that with my husband's side of the family because, we all have families. So which the kids just suck us dry. They take every last penny. So we do a Secret Santa. So usually at Thanksgiving we'll pick the names, and then we go shopping, and then on Christmas we do the Secret Santa for his side. And that's great because you can focus all your energy on one person rather than trying to figure out, and you get some hilarious gifts doing it that way. Hilarious. So that could be something to do, okay? And don't be afraid to bring it up to the family. And if the family doesn't want to do it, then they're party poopers. And say, okay, well, if that's the case, then you know, it we won't be able to bring as much stuff as we typically do. And I always tell people, be honest about your finances, right? Um, it is what it is. If you can't spend that much, you can't spend that much. And if they say something about it, good. Now you're not getting anything. Well, that's how I feel. Like, if you're not going to be grateful for what you do get, you're not getting anything. Get you some coal. Well, that may be expensive now, but anywho. um, Gift cards. Now that I don't think this is what you're thinking it is. So I get gift cards a lot because I love gift cards because um, well, my husband and I love going out to trying new places and trying to go out to eat, but our budget is a bit tight. So, we budget for everything and we try to budget for date nights, but sometimes it just doesn't happen. But what's great is my mom and dad, they're so cute. Love getting us restaurant gift cards because what they do is they try out the restaurant first to see if we'll like it. That's their excuse. So anytime they go to get us a gift card, they try the restaurant out first. So what they do is they buy us restaurant gift cards. So now we have restaurant gift cards for the year. So when we want to go out and maybe our budget's a little tight, we'll look through our gift card and like, oh, which one do you want to go to? It's great. Now the second part of this gift card funness is if you get gift cards from somebody that you normally don't shop at that particular place, that's okay. Because you know what you do? You save that gift card. So when it comes to Christmas time, you can use it at that store for somebody else. Right? It's like, ooh, now that's an idea. So then we've done that in the past where it's like, oh, thank you so much for this gift card. And even though I might not know the store or end up not liking or finding anything I like at the store, I might find something that I know someone else will like and be like, oh my God, that's going to be the perfect gift for so and so. And I can use the gift card for the gift. And it works out, right? So that's another way that you can use gift cards to your advantage. And also shopping early. Okay. I know everyone's like Black Friday or as you get closer to Christmas, the sales get better. Well, the prices go up too. So the prices go up and the sales get better because they instead of 15% off, they might be 30% off. But the price of it went up 40%. So that's one thing that sometimes finding things throughout the year as far as gifts. And this is where when you plan ahead, like you actually have a budget. So we put away a certain amount every month. And throughout the year, if we find something that we might like as a Christmas gift or to give to somebody for Christmas, we already have the money in savings that we can start buying stuff throughout the year. Okay. So that might be something you, obviously, if it's closer to the holiday season, you can't do. But you can have that in your mind for next year. Okay. So those are a couple of ideas on how to lower cost. Um, Also buying, I talked about Groupon. Um, Groupon can be helpful. Now, Groupon can be dangerous and Groupon can be helpful. The way Groupon is dangerous, if you just go on searching and searching and searching and just looking for any old thing, because then what happens is you end up buying tickets to something that you weren't actually looking for, and then you have to use them. Okay. Whereas what I want you to do is have an idea of what you want to do and then go on that site and have you have your blinders on so you don't see a lot of that random stuff because you could overshop easy on Groupon. Okay. All right. Now, another way to save money. This is the one a lot of people kind of give me that look on is give less gifts. Okay. Um, my mom, God bless her, she filled our living room. And the reason for that is she grew up really poor. They grew up with nothing. And so my mom always wanted to give us Christmases like she never had. And she loved watching our faces because she just thought it was fantastic. Um, but when I started being an adult and doing my finances and looking at that, I'm like, that could have really messed up my parents' relationship, right? Because all that spending, she used credit cards. That's how she did it. And yeah, and looking back on it, I'm like, oh my God, the amount of money she spent on us. And we never realized it. The amount of money. So what we're doing at our household is we have a gift limit. We don't go past a certain amount of gifts. And we also have a certain budget for each kid. And then once they get older, we plan on doing like a family gift. So we're going to have individuals gifts and then we're going to have the big family gift. And we're going to keep it at that, you know, um, just because every year, if you don't have a plan, you almost want to outdo yourself. So I swear to God, my mom, every year, she was getting more and more presents for us just because it had to be better than last year. And that was all because she didn't have anything. She just wanted it to be amazing for us. And she's just the best mom you could have had. And she's just fantastic. And to know what she spent on us, I'm like, Ma. And she's like, yeah, I know, but it was great. You guys loved it. And I wouldn't change it for the world. I'm like, Ma. Jeez. Like, whoa. Traditions, crazy decorations. This is my mom too. Thank God she doesn't watch these things. She'd be like, Kim, stop telling everybody. It's okay. It's okay. If you ever drove by the house I grew up in, you'd be like, we know, we know. So crazy decorations. I am not a big decorator just because it's so funny because I'm an artsy craftsy person and I love creating things. But decorating, I'm just like, I don't know. I used to help my mom, and I think this might be it. My mom, so we lived on a corner, right? So we lived on a corner. She would have decorations all the way from the woods coming down all the way in front of the house, wrapping around to the side of the house and going all the way through the backyard. hmm That was, and it just wasn't, you know how some yards are just that kind of like vomit of Christmas decorations, like it's just randomness. Oh no, not my mom. Every area had a different scene. So you had up in the woods, with Santa's workshop. So she actually had Santa's workshop, and she had all the plastic stuff. Yeah. So all of Santa's workshop, and then you have the now like polar bears and penguins, and then you have Santa's things, and then it was crazy. It was crazy. And the amount of lights that we put up on the house, yeah, Christmas vacation. Christmas vacation. Just think Christmas vacation. And I would be up there helping her. And I was the only one that helped her for the longest time because my sisters were like, we're not that crazy. And so I would freeze out there helping mom put the Christmas lights on, and I was the one that had to go. It's just like Christmas vacation, actually. I was the one going through the lights, making sure everything worked, and yeah, kind of think of it. My mom used me. But but it was like as much as nice as it looked afterwards, it was crazy. It's like I was freezing half the time coming in. I wasn't enjoying it because you're freezing and you're just shaking, and it's like, yeah, we'll have hot cocoa. It's like, yeah, that's nice. So, but that costs a ton of money. The crazy decorations. The decorations are just so expensive. Full living room of presents. Um, you don't have to follow your parents. Like I took, like mom, we just purchased a house last year, and mom was like, "Oh, this house is perfect for decorating. It's oh my God, the amount of light." I'm like, "Mom, no, we're not spending that on electricity. We're gonna put up some nice stuff. We're gonna put up some wreaths. We're gonna do this. And she goes, "Oh," she's so disappointed. But it's like, Mom, we just don't have the capacity to do that. And to be aware of it and to have that and to understand your finances, because we budget, we know what we can afford, we know what we can't. If you don't have a budget, it's very hard to find that line of what you can afford and what you can't if you don't have something to refer to. Okay, so we're going to tie it all back into the budget that we talked about in the very beginning. Don't be afraid to say no. If someone wants you to donate and you didn't budget for it, no, I don't have the money, but I apologize and I wish you the best of luck. Don't have the money. Um, so what I tell people is if you can't donate money, but you can volunteer your time, sometimes that is just as good, if not better. So when we were really trying to pay down debt and we really didn't have a lot of extra funds, I actually would um, volunteer for the Salvation Army. And I was one of those little bell ringers for a few years. And my husband is a DJ, so I'd bring a speaker and I'd have my phone and I'd play Christmas songs and just ring the bell. And that was my way of giving, okay, is to volunteer my time, even though I couldn't give financially, that was what I could do to help. Okay. So don't be afraid to say no if someone wants you to donate for something. And find other ways to give if you don't have the monetary availability. Okay. And meal prep. This is a big one because this gets away from a lot of people. Is Christmas dinner tend to go crazy, and we all like to have multiple options, and then we're eating it for a month afterwards. So try and what we still haven't started our own tradition at home. We still go to the parents' houses for Thanksgiving and Christmas, but we'll bring pies and stuff. Um, but what if you do this at home? Think about the things that you like to have, and then look at Thanksgiving and Christmas. Say, okay, these are the foods that we love. Let's decide to have a certain dishes at Thanksgiving and then certain dishes at Christmas, and not have because my mom loved again my mom. I put this presentation all around my mom. um, But she cooks so much because again, she likes to fill our bellies and our soul full of love. Um, but she cooks like there's six of us, and she cooks like a casserole per person because we all have our favorites. So instead of saying, okay, Thanksgiving we're gonna have these, Christmas we're gonna have these, she cooks them all the time. Um, she's she just loves to love people. That's what it is. But meal prep, it's big, especially if you can find recipes that have similar ingredients to something you already have at home. Doing that prep at home and actually finding out what you have. There have been a couple of times where I cleaned out, help my mom clean out her spice cabinet, and I must have found like 4 or 5 garlic salts. Like, Mama, what you doing? And she goes, oh, they must have been in the back. So when you meal prep, definitely check what you have at home because you could be saving, especially when it comes to spices. You could be saving a lot if you already have spices at home. Okay. And don't be like my husband and throw them away if their day expired. Yeah, that happened. Because they're expensive and they're dried spices. It's okay. They'll be fine. Um, so definitely use your discretion on that. But yeah, I went to my spice rack and like half the spices were gone, and I'm like, where are they? And he goes, oh, they're gone. They were expired. I'm like, what? No. And I'm like, okay, well, grocery bill's gonna be really expensive. He's like, why? Like, because um I need those are like everyday spices. I mean, we don't use them a lot. Like, I mean, each recipe doesn't use a lot of it, but we use it often enough. And so he's like, oh, like, uh-huh. Um, but yeah, so meal prep, that's going to save you a boatload too, is trying to cut down the dinner. I mean, having leftovers, having the turkey, having leftovers is great, um, because you'll save on the grocery bill and you'll have turkey. And there's so many, definitely look up turkey recipes for after Thanksgiving or Christmas, and you'll be able to create so much different things with it, that it's not like you're eating the same thing over and over again. And lastly, this is our last slide. Uh, it's kind of a recap of the presentation. Okay, so 10 steps to create an enjoyable holiday season for you and your family. Set up a holiday budget. Okay. Um, so for us, we put away a certain amount. Our budget allows us to put a certain amount away every month. That is if you're starting close to the holiday season, it might be a little difficult to be able to save what you need to, but you might be able to, depending on what your budget looks like. Okay. If you need help with this budget, let us know. We can help you. Okay. Make a list of people and amounts to spend. This is going to be key. This is going to be kind of like your recipe for the holiday. Tells you how many people you're buying for and the amount you're paying for a person. Okay. Review current finances and stick to your budget. Okay. Like I said, you want to review your current finances because what we're going to try and do is have you purchase most of your Christmas with cash and not credit cards. But the key to this is I don't want you just pulling money out of your account when that money is meant for bills and expenses. So that's why we want to look at your budget. We want to look at your finances and see what you have available. That's the key word. They're available. Okay. Create a shopping list and stick to it. If you know how much you're spending per person and you have an idea of how much you want to spend on certain things for this person, have that shopping list and stick to it. Okay. Shop early when you can. Think outside the box. Remember, think of Secret Santa. Uh, think of um, doing an excursion like a group gift or experience, things like that. Homemade gifts. Okay. 7, volunteer. 8, use cash as much as possible, and remember, it has to be, or you want it to be, your available cash, not something that's meant for something else. set up a holiday fund for next year. Okay? That way next year you're going to be better off. And you're gonna know how much, and you won't be kind of going through the trying to figure out the budget. Just have to make the list because you'll know how much you have because it's straight in that savings account that says Christmas. Okay? And then lastly, enjoy your holiday season. Okay? Because that's what this is for. So you don't stress. You have a plan. You know who you're buying for. You know how much you're going to spend on each person. It's a given. It's not, oh my God, what gift did I already buy Susie something or Tim something? Where did that go? How much did I spend? That way the kids get, because if you have kids, there's always going to be a fight that you love one more. That's my household. Everyone thought my mom and dad loved me the most. And for some reason, always thought I got more gifts. It it was the case. No, I'm kidding. Um, but so if you have a plan and you have a budget, you can say, well, when they're young, obviously Santa brings the gifts. But yeah, so I want you to enjoy your season. I don't want you to have the stress. I don't want you to be overcome with debt. I want you to be able to actually sit down, have that eggnog if you like eggnog, have the coffee, or sometimes people like to have a hard eggnog, whatever your preference. I want you to be able to enjoy it. Okay? All right. Again, if you have any questions, please write them. They'll come to us. We'll send out an email after the fact. But please, I want you to enjoy your holiday season. And if you have any questions about, meeting up with us, you can definitely write that in the question box, or you can reach out to me directly. My email is kimberly.millett@centerfe.org. So it's KIMBERLY period MELETTE at CENTERFE.org. Or you can call me at 603-227-7731, extension 309. You will be getting an email after this presentation finalizes. You'll be getting an email, and it does have the centers information on there. So that will come to me and my team member, Megan. Okay? So we'll be able to each get that. So if that's easier for you to reach out to that, and most certainly can. All right. Thank you so much for taking the time, guys. I hope you guys have a wonderful holiday season. Bye now.